Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to our Guru Maharaj. I welcome all of you to the daily class of His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj. Today's topic is about the holy name and simple living. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for joining and giving your time and association today for all of us this morning. You can please take over, Guru Maharaj. So, should I share any verse, Guru Maharaj?
No, I'm gonna read something.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
I'm in the process of tracking it down right now. Let's see. Okay. Om Gyan Timidandasya Gena Jana Salakaya Chaksu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruvena Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasnaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya Desatarine Vanchikalpa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Paevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. Give me 1 second here. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagujatam Sahaganat Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Parijanam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamscha Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatkate Gopi Sva Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavane Suri Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Hare Hare. This is a conversation with Hari Sari and Satsrup Maharaj in Mayapur with Srila Prabhupada in 1977, February 14th. Here's a verse. This is from the Bhagavad Gita. According to the 3 modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them, the 4 divisions of human society were created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I'm yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. So this is a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is saying that the three modes of material nature and the four divisions of human society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, were created by Krishna. And although he creates the system, he just puts it in place and it works according to his direction. But he is not affected by the work. So Prabhupada says, we are preaching Krishna consciousness. It must be done. Harisari says, but in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's practical preaching, he only induced them to chant. Prabhupada said, that is not possible for ordinary man. Harisari, what? To simply induce people to chant? He only introduced just the chanting, Prabhupada. But who will chant? Who will chant? Such root. But if they won't chant, then neither will they be trained up for Varnashram Dharma. Prabhupada, the chanting will be there, but you cannot expect people will chant like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They cannot even chant 16 rounds. These rascals, they're going to be like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. No, Sadhguru, but if they at least chant and take some prasadam, Prabhupada, chanting will go on, that is not stopped. At the same time, the Varnashram Dharma must be established to make the way easy. Harisari, well, at least in my own understanding, was that the chanting was introduced in the age of Kali because Varnashram was not possible. Prabhupada, because it will cleanse the mind, chanting will not stop. Harisari, so therefore, the chanting was introduced to replace all other systems of Varnashram, and like that, Prabhupada said, yes, it can replace, but who is going to replace it? People are not so advanced. If you imitate Haridas Thakur to chant, it's not possible. So Prabhupada, what he's saying is that along with the chanting, there has to be a lifestyle that is conducive to the execution of devotional service and specifically the chanting. And that's Prabhupada's emphasizing this Varnashram. Satcharup, we tell them, go on with your job, but chant also. Prabhupada said, yes. Takaha apanare kaje. Apanara kaha ki. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended stani stita. And if they do not remain in the sthana, then the Sahajiya chanting will come. Just like the Sahajiyas also they got their beads, but they have also 36 ladies. This kind of chanting will go on, just like he will not be fit for sannyas, but we will give it, but he was given sannyas. He mentioned someone. And 5 women he was attached to. Therefore, Varnashram is required. Simply show bottle will not do. So the Varnashram Dharma should be introduced all over the world. Introduced starting with the ISKCON community, says Satcharup Maharaj. Prabhupada says, yes, yes, Brahman, Kshatriyas. There must be regular education. Sorry, but in our community, we're being trained up as Vaishnavas. Yes, Prabhupada says. Then how will we be able to make the division in our society? Prabhupada says, yes, Vaishnava, it's not so easy. The Varnashram Dharma should be established to become a Vaishnava. It is not so easy to become Vaishnava. Sorry. No, it's not a cheap thing. Prabhupada, yes, therefore we should this should be made. He's referring to Varnashram. Vaishnav, to become Vaishnav, it's not so easy. If to become Vaishnav is so easy, why is there so many devotees are falling down? It's not easy. The sannyas is for the highest qualified brahmana, and simply by dressing like a Vaishnava, and that's it. That's not enough. They fall down. So Harisari says, so the Varnashram system is like for the Kanista Arikari. That means a neophyte devotee. Prabhupada said, Kanista? Harisari? Yes, when one is only on the platform of neophyte. Prabhupada, yes, yes, Kanista Arikari, yes. Harisari. Varnashram system is beneficial. Prabhupada, Kanista Arikari means he must be a Brahmana. That is Kanista Adhikari. Harisari, he must be at least a Brahmana? Prabhupada, spiritual life, Kanista Adhikari means he must be a qualified Brahmana. Brahmana, that is Kanista. What is esteemed as a very high position in the material Brahmana? That is Kanista Adhikari. So Prabhupada is talking from the point of view of material Brahmana. Acharyam eva haraye, ya pujam stradaye hate. Natad bhakteshu charneshu sadbhakta prakriti smita. Verse from the 11th canto. The Brahmana means one from the material stage, gradually he is elevated to the spiritual stage. And below the Brahman, there is no question of Vaishnava. Prabhupada, Vaishnavism, and then Prabhupada goes on to quote one verse, Srinvata Swakata Krishna, Purnya Shravana Kirtanaha, Vedanto Stoya Bhadrani Vidunoti Srut Satam. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By becoming a Brahmana, hearing, or by hearing, he becomes a Brahmana. The other qualities, Sudra quality, Kshatriya, Vaishnava, means finished. So then the next stage is Srinvata Swakata Krishna Purnya Shravana Kirtanaha Nasta Prayeshu Abhidreshu. By this process, by hearing without becoming a Brahmana, nobody is interested to hear. Then by hearing, then the base qualities, ignorance and passion, these are base qualities, they are finished. Not completely, but almost. And by serving the spiritual master and the Krishna conscious movement, Nasta Prayeshu Abhidreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistaki. Translation of that verse is by regular attendance on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service to the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental song, is established as an irrevocable fact. It thus becomes fixed in devotional service. The devotional service is first grade quality of Sattva Gun. When one is situated as a devotee, then there's base quality, ignorance and passion, lusty desires, greediness, strong sex desires, eating too much. These things, they go. When one is situated in devotional service, these are the symptoms of a Rajastamo Bhava. That means one who is freed from the influence of the lower modes, such as ignorance and passion. The mind, the Prabhupada goes on to explain, the mind is no more disturbed by these things, illicit sex, intoxication, eating, and gambling. Then he is understood to be in Sattva Gun, that is Brahminical life. Gradually, step-by-step process. Just like in university, nobody is going to study higher mathematics, higher English. No, the classes are vacant, but still the government does not close it. The expenditure is high, but there is no student, no income. Therefore, the professor is coming to us, give us some students. Papa said, Satchirup Maharaj says, religious professors, whatever it may be, higher studies, send us some of your men, they say. Nobody is interested in higher study. They want some technological understanding so they can earn some money, that's all. The Prabhupada says nobody's interested in Brahminical life. They just want to get a job so they can make money, that's all. This is their only interest. Prabhupada and Sacharup Maharaj says, in our ISKCON, one becomes a Brahmin after a year. It's not very hard. Everyone becomes a Brahmin. Prabhupada said, that is due to chanting. That will happen very easily. Hari Sari, where will we introduce the Varnashram system then? He's asking, how do we introduce this Varnashram system? Prabhupada said, in our society, among our members. But if everybody's being raised to the Brahminical, not everybody, Prabhupada says, why are you misunderstanding? Varnashram, not everybody is a Brahmin. No, but in our society, practically everyone is being trained to that platform. So then one might ask, Prabhupada said, everyone is being raised, but they're falling down. So what Prabhupada is getting at is that we need training in all the Varnas, not just in Brahminical society, Kshatriya training, Vaishya's training, along with elevating the devotees by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Prabhupada said everyone's falling down. Hari Sari says, then we should make it more difficult. Prabhupada said, yes, Brahminical initiation after 4 or 5 years. Prabhupada said, not necessary. You remain as a Kshatriya. Hari Sari, no need for even any Brahminical initiation then? Prabhupada said, no. Hari Sari, unless Prabhupada, no, Brahmana must be there. Hari Sari, unless one is, yes, Prabhupada, inclined. Unless one is inclined to Brahminical life, maybe should be trained according to how they are inclined. Not that a Sudra can become a Brahmana. That is not possible. Even if he remains a Sudra, he will get the same position as a devotee. He will get the perfection. So Prabhupada, what he's saying is, it's not so much the position, but it's the work itself. When it's offered to Krishna in devotion, it becomes devotional service. Everything is for Krishna. Therefore, why a Sudra artificially should become a Brahmin? Let him remain a Sudra. In other words, let him do Sudra work, but he's still a Vaishnava. And if he follows the rules and regulations, then he is also as good as a Brahmin. And Prabhupada uses the example, there are different parts of the body, but each of the part is important. Of course, the head is the most important. You can live without the other parts, but you can't live without the head. But Prabhupada is saying each part is important. Today, you have been saying that Vaishnava is the highest, Sacharup Maharaj is speaking, even above the Brahmin. But then we also understand that everyone is in ISKCON is a Vaishnava. Prabhupada said, yes, everyone, even if he is not Brahmin, Jivya Sudapoi Krishna Nishchadas. And they quote a verse, Prabhupada quotes a verse from Madhya Lila. It is the living entity's constitutional position to be eternal servant of Krishna, because he is the marginal energy of Krishna and a manifestation simultaneously and different from one with and different from the Lord. Just like a molecular particle of sunshine or fire, Krishna has 3 varieties of energy. But you bring him to pure consciousness. What is that pure consciousness? I am servant of Krishna. In our society, we say, Srila Prabhupada, we want someone to be a Sudra. No, I do not want. I want everyone to become a Vaishnava. But because he's a Sudra, it is not possible to bring him immediately to the platform of Brahmana or Vaishnava, therefore falling down. Therefore, system must be there. Even if he remains a Sudra, he is a Vaishnava. Harisari says, so we have to completely revise the whole system that we have now. Now, this is 1977. This is No, Prabhupada said, whatever we have, that's all right. But we see by experience, devotees are falling down. There must be some systematic training. Why fall down? Because he is not fit for the position. Therefore, he is fallen. Better to remain in his position and become perfect. Why artificially bring people to a position? There is no need. And then as the verse quoted, by following the qualities of one's work, every man becomes perfect. Now please hear from me how this is done. This is Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita in verse number 45 of chapter 18. Prabhupada said, yes, he is a Sudra clerk, and he can, as a Sudra, he can get perfection. Why should he artificially become a Brahmin and a sannyasi and fall down? That has to be checked. So what Prabhupada is saying is one should work according to their level of capacity and engage in devotional service, and not that we make everyone artificially a Brahmanan by giving this Brahminical thread. Then they can't maintain their vows, and then they don't stay steady in their devotional service. They fall down and it becomes a farce. So Prabhupada said, Sorry says, so that depends upon our men who are giving recommendations, because people will give recommendations for positions. Prabhupada, so that recommendation is not good. Sorry. So how we will implement Prabhupada, right now we have every temple president can, no, Prabhupada said no. When there is no tree, the castor seed tree is a very big tree. That's going on. When there's no Brahmins, everybody else looks good. And Prabhupada use it. And then the discussions going on about, the importance of a person remaining in their particular varna and executing devotional service. And that's this discussion continues to go on. And Prabhupada said, for the big scale it was required, you cannot make them all Brahmins and sannyasis. That is not possible. That is small scale. How many percentage of people of the world are we are controlling? Very insignificant. But if you want to make them the whole society perfect, then Krishna conscious movement should be introduced according to Krishna's instructions. If you want to do it on a larger scale for the benefit of the whole human society, that means Prabhupada saying you must institute this Varnashram. And it goes on discussing different aspects of that. Okay. And Prabhupada's talking a little bit about material things. We're a materialistic society. He says we cannot approach the masses to organize. We can't believe, can Krishna consciousness be implicated on a big scale? Prabhupada said, we are giving the ideal, but no one is listening. That we say means that we are not going to be suitors, but to show them. We just like, in other words, Prabhupada said, we demonstrate how society should be organized, but we are not the roles we play. We are always in the role of a Vaishnava, although we might play the role of a Sudra, we might play the role of a sannyasi, we might play the role of a Brahmana. In all cases, we still remain in our position as Vaishnava. This is an interesting conversation. It's centered around establishing the four varnas in relationship to the execution of devotional service, and keeping the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra foremost. Okay, and you see Prabhupada said, even though people are chanting Hare Krishna, because we are not establishing this Varnashram system, devotees can't remain steady in the process of chanting. Well, that's the essence of this particular discussion. Okay, so we'll stop there and see if there's any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for this conversation. You read the conversation for all of us regarding the chanting and Varnashrama system and how to become a Brahmana and how hearing impacts us to become a Brahmana and how to come into the Sattva Guna. So thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for sharing with all of us. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, if you have any questions or realizations or anything you want to say.
In essence, chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and established as Varnashram. And Prabhupada gave the idea, he said, Varnashram cannot be established in the cities, it can only be established in the farm communities. So therefore he said, establish these farms and develop natural living based on Krishna's direction for keeping cows, growing agriculture, and building your own building. In other words, live free from the influence of the Western materialistic society, which now is causing people more and more anxiety as time goes on. Everything is starting to collapse everywhere around. So yeah. So Prabhupada could foresee the collapse of Western society. And he also understood how the human being can flourish both on the material level by working according to their nature and on the spiritual level by emphasizing the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So these two things.
Yes,
okay, so
thank you so
any
much.
Comments or questions? Yeah.
Yeah, I request everyone to please turn on your cameras too. That would be very nice to see all of you. Thank you so much.
A lot of times we are in anxiety because we don't serve according to our nature, and we do the service. We accept it in that as service, but we don't stay steady in our service, nor do we really absorb ourselves in the service to develop it more, because we find it becomes a little contrary to our nature. Prabhupada said education, Varnashram Dharma, means establishing a Varnashram college to train Brahmins to be Brahmins, to train people to be Kshatriyas, to train people to be Vaishnavas, and he said Sudras don't require training. So these three top Varnas, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, require training and education and evaluation by the Brahminical class, who will be the teachers who will give the training to the other two Varnas, along with their own Varna. So Prabhupada had a broad vision for our society, not we simply just go on as part of the materialistic society and chant Hare Krishna, spend 2 hours a day with Hare Krishna and 22 hours a day working and maintaining our family. That wasn't Prabhupada. He wanted to reestablish the whole society in a practical spiritual lifestyle that was conducive to both the material aspect and to the spiritual. Right now, our material life usually takes away from our spiritual life. And because the material life is so demanding, the more devotees don't spend hardly any time in their spiritual life. They're mostly either working or saving or doing something to fortify their material needs, either directly or indirectly. Prabhupada could see that even if that went on for a while, later on it would become more and more harder to maintain that, and then eventually it would collapse. And that's what's the forecast on the weather report now is, that society is falling apart. And therefore, Prabhupada's program for Varnashram becomes now a necessity rather than just an idea in the past.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yeah. Sridevi Mataji, you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I can only go to the hour today, so we have to stop at on the hour. So that gives us about 25 minutes. So everyone ask their questions as much as they can. I have to travel. I have to board an airplane in a few hours, so I have to stop at the hour.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Mataji.
Maharaj, humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for this.
Your voice is cutting, Mataji.
Oh.
Please try again. Talk slowly, Mataji.
Sorry. We understand the need for Varnashram, but we are so caught up in the rat race that we don't know how to get out.
Sorry, Mataji. Mataji, will you type the question in chat?
I will.
Yeah, thank you. So, dear devotees, while we wait for Mataji's question, can anybody ask? Anybody can ask the question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful insight on the conversation with Srila Prabhupada about the Varnashram. I have a question in the sense that so the way that I understand the conversation and your explanation, Maharaj, is that not everybody should try to aim to be a Brahmana. They can be Vaishnava and they can be attached and do Krishna's service, but not really looking for a Brahman initiation in this case. But and then everybody would have to see which Varna they fit in, get trained, and practice devotional service. Is that the correct understanding, Maharaj?
Yeah, taking Brahman initiation means doing two things: having Brahminical service and Brahminical qualities. You can't just get a thread and just hang it on your shoulder and say, I'm a Brahmin. You have to be doing Brahminical work.
Yes, Maharaj.
You have to be doing, and you also have to be exhibiting the qualities of a Brahmana. So that's why the training process is there, in order to qualify one accordingly. So in the training process, it includes an evaluation process. And in that evaluation process, people are designated accordingly. So everyone will come in for training, and then according to their nature, they will be trained accordingly. But everyone's a Vaishnava. That's the point. It doesn't matter what work you do. It's all devotional service.
But then, Maharaj, we also hear in many other places where it is said, and senior devotee says that, or said in the lecture, that the real initiation is the Brahman initiation. So everybody should aspire for Brahman initiation to make one yourself qualified for it and endeavor for that, because that is the real initiation.
Well, it's the complete initiation.
Complete initiation, yes, Maharaj. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
So should devotees still aspire for that stage, everyone?
They should aspire to be devotees, don't worry about position.
Yes, yes.
We have devotees who are Brahmanically initiated, but don't have the qualities of a Brahmin. And we have others who are not Brahmanically initiated and who do have the qualities. So it consummates what is there. It doesn't give you, just by getting Brahminical initiation, doesn't give you those qualities. So you're saying, well, everyone has to take second initiation. That means everyone should aspire for second initiation. No, everyone should aspire to develop the qualities of a devotee and engage in devotional service. That's why Prabhupada said, why is everyone falling down?
Mm.
That means devotees were falling down because even though they were Brahmanically initiated, they weren't up to the standard in their own spiritual practice. Prabhupada's coming back to emphasize the importance of training and education, both, not just education, but training also.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Or otherwise, don't take second initiation, then just remain in the first standard and then serve in that capacity until you're actually ready for that. But it's not so much the initiation, it's the consciousness that we have developed in our service. It's nothing external. The external is just for the sake of keeping the social fabric working, but ultimately the principle is one's consciousness. If he's Brahmanically initiated, but he has a consciousness of a Sudra, then he's a Sudra. Or he's exhibiting the qualities of the Sudra. But again, devotees are not Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra. They are transcendental to all these as long as they engage in devotional service. But that's why Prabhupada said to become a Vaishnava is not so easy. Not so easy. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Guru Maharaj, Sridevi Mataji wrote her question on chat. We understand need for Varnashrama, but we are so caught up the rat race, we don't know how to stop and what to do then. Is there any plan in place to engage people in seva, give them a livelihood?
Well, there are people are doing it individually, but as a society, we're not doing it, unfortunately. There's a few leaders who are working to develop it in their own areas of control and preaching. But as a society, we are not focusing on that. Don't ask me why. I don't know why, but we should be. I said, build these farms, establish one ashram. He said, in the farms, we can establish this. In the cities, we still continue to serve through the mode of preaching. Preaching, cities are for preaching. Cities are not for living. Not for living in the cities. That's for preaching. Our livelihood is outside of the cities in a more natural environment, because the cities are just hell. And you have to work like an ass just to make a little bit of money, which goes, this is like, I'll give you an example. Here I am in Canada. I just found out yesterday, 45% of a person's paycheck goes to the government as soon as they, as soon as they get it. So if you get those of you who are in the UK, the same thing, 45%, right? So if you make, say you make 2,000 pounds a month, the government gets about 900, right? So half the time almost half the time you're working simply for the government. And what do? They don't give you anything. They give you some roads, that's all. So you can drive your car and spend more money buying gasoline that's going higher and higher. This Western civilization is a soul-killing civilization. It's destroying everyone. And devotees are struggling to somehow or other practice Krishna consciousness because of so much responsibility to live in this way. That's why Prabhupada said we have to establish these farms. He said, so two things: spread the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra through different programs such as Harinams and Kirtan programs and in our temples, and learn how to live. We think that this Western civilization that's imposed upon us is natural, but it's not. It's totally artificial. It destroys all the good qualities of the living being. Aesthetic values, people's health is always in challenge. Cities are full of noise, they're full of pollution, full of crime. So we want to preach. So we preach in the cities. Therefore, we can have our preaching centers. But for living outside, and then devotees can work as brahmanas, devotees can work as kshatriyas, or devotees can work as vaishyas, and devotees can work in the supportive role as sudras. But it's all devotional service. And as Prabhupada emphasized in that conversation, it's all equal. Why work for people on the outside who, if you work in an environment that is hostile to your Krishna consciousness, and you give half your money to the government anyway? It's ridiculous. No intelligent person will see, why am I working so hard just to get some food and a place to live, when God is giving a place to live and food to the animals? He gives it to them automatically. So of course we need some shelter, some housing, that. But it's like I see devotees sometimes paying like $2,000, $3,000 a month for rent. I'm serious. It's not like you pay extraordinary prices just to live in a little box that it's unhealthy. I mean, when you look at it, it's contrary to our spiritual development, because it takes away our energy, time, and resources just to live. That's the main point, that living is easy, but the Western civilization has made living practically impossible. It's just crazy. It's a rat race out there. The roads are full of cars now, and it's amazing. The cars are just increasing. Congestion is increasing. Crime is increasing. Why? Because it's an artificial lifestyle. It's based on money. It's not based on culture. Prabhupada said that. He said this society will collapse because it is based on money, not on culture. Money is not stable. So yeah, even if we somehow or other can go on like this for some years, we spend mostly all of our time just trying to maintain our bodies and our families. And we give very little time to spiritual life. And we're so much separated from each other by the society we live in. Here's where these more rural communities are foundations for developing community. And community is supportive of the principle of spirituality. We see that our society has emanated from the Vedic culture, which is a communal culture. It's not a little, like mother, father, two kids in one house somewhere, and that's it. People were living communally, and therefore there was a lot of support, both for getting work done and for the resources that were needed to live. It's available. And Prabhupada emphasized it. He said, he said, it's not only necessary for our movement, but for the whole world to continue, for people to go on. They will have to develop a more simple lifestyle, which is simple means conducive to aesthetic, moral, and spiritual values. That's what simplicity means in this case. Kanchana.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Lotus feet. Maharaj, thank you so much for discussing this point on Varnashram and how and really emphasizing about the importance of developing farm communities. Maharaj, one thing I'm always thinking about is how it really correlates the Varnas and the farm communities. So I think to myself, how do what would those that are Brahmanas, what would they be doing on the farms? What would the Kshatriyas be doing on the farms? What would the Vaishyas be doing, and what would the Sudras be doing? How does it all how does it look?
Each has their work. The Brahmins give education. The Brahmins are also giving medical advice. Medical advice was given by Brahmanas. Brahmins give advice on how to organize the communities. They give advice on many levels. And especially they are teachers, and educators. So the Brahminical work is there. Kshatriyas are the persons who carry out the work. They're the ones that implement the practical organization that is needed in order for a community to function in an organized way. So, and they also are protectors of others. They protect not only the humans, but the animals and nature itself. They're also protectors of all aspects of society. And they're also managers. The Vaishyavas, that's quite, the Vaishyas take care of cows, they take care of agriculture. They also take care of whatever financial system that you may have in place. And the Sudras, they'll do whatever service is needed that is required within the environment. Everyone has their work.
So the Brahmanas, Maharaj, the Brahmanas are teaching those that are living in the community.
Yeah, they can teach inside and outside also. They can teach others.
Okay. So when we say farm communities, the devotees should live in the farm community. Ideally, the devotees living in the community, but they also go out to preach, and then they come.
I would say Prabhupada says the farms are for the grihastas, for the families. He said the brahmacharis and sannyasis can travel and travel in different places and preach Krishna consciousness. They can also come and live on the farm for some time, but generally they'll do that and then go out again and preach. But the grihastas will maintain the farms, maintain the cows, the agriculture, the children's schools. These are all part of, the rural communities. You can also set up a hospital there. Everything can be done. You can have a small little community, right? And it's not just agriculture, it's all aspects of life, schools, medical facilities. All of this can be done by mainly by the grihastas. And the grihastas are a combination of Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaishnavas. But for the spiritual orders like brahmachari and sannyas who continue to travel, they may stop for some time, come to the farm, spend some time, and then go out and preach again. Brahmacharis are the assistants to the sannyasis. They can support. They can also live on the farm and support the farm to some degree. Prabhupada's given us all of these directions on how to organize the Varna and ashram system. But it all centers around devotional service.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, I have about 6 or 7 minutes left. Do we have one more question?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, I have a question. Like when I was listening to the conversation, you were telling about hearing leads one to become a Brahmana. Is that correct, Guru Maharaj? Did I hear it correctly?
Say that again.
Hearing leads one to become a Brahmana.
Hearing?
Yeah, like when you were quoting the verse, like when Srila Prabhupada was quoting the verse of Shunvatam Swakata Krishna. So,
yeah, that establishes one in devotional service. It awakens one's natural propensity to glorify the Lord, and it inspires the Lord to give mercy to that person by cleansing their heart through the process of hearing and chanting. So it's not for a particular varna, that's for everyone. Yeah. That's a devotional principle. So
it awakens, it helps us to become or develop Brahmanical qualities, Guru Maharaj?
Yeah, well, it'll help you develop qualities of devotion.
Okay.
Which may come out as Brahminical work or Kshatriya work or Vaishya work. They come out accordingly. But it doesn't mean because you're maybe on a Sudra, Varna, Prabhupada emphasized, you can still love Krishna, and that's perfection. Perfection is to love Krishna, but one has to work in such a way as to offer their time, their energy, their resources in service of Krishna as an expression of one's devotion. It doesn't matter what position you're in.
Yes, good.
But for the social development of the society, these different divisions are given. Right now, we have a society that is very Brahminical, but we haven't really developed the Kshatriya mood so much in society. There are devotees who have farms that are working in that way. So we have devotees who do cow protection and agriculture like that. Kshatriyas are not so much developed. We need training in that area. For instance, just 2 weeks ago, 3 of our temples were attacked in America. One was the Washington, D.C. Potomac Temple. The other one was the Baltimore Temple. And there was a third temple, which I can't remember. 3 temples were attacked. If we had Kshatriyas there ready, the attack would have been stopped before it even started. Yeah, so every temple should have a protective element. Prabhupada said that's up to the duty of the temple president to make sure that there is those who can fight if we get attacked. And that's just part of Kshatriya. The other side part of it is management, and the other part of it is taking care of devotees. That's all part of the Kshatriya Dharma.
So devotee care also come under Kshatriya Dharma, Guru Maharaj?
In general, it does, but specifically, it depends on the particular type of devotee care that's being given.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, I think I can take one more quick question if someone has one.
Prabhuji, you raised your hand previously. You want to go ahead and ask question quickly?
Hare Krishna. Have I understood you properly that our society needs for Kshatriyas as a bodyguards, not as managers?
Both.
What is more important?
Both are important. You can't say one is more important than the other.
Are Brahmanas ready to share their manager position for real Kshatriya?
Well, let's hope so. Because a lot of Brahmins are taking that managerial position because there is not enough qualified managers. So they do it themselves. It's more like a default program. Just like you saw in the Battle of Kurukshetra. You know, what was his name? Dronacharya. Dronacharya was a Brahmana, but he because the war was there, he acted as a Kshatriya. His son.
I'm talking about modern times.
Yeah, same thing.
Everybody wants to be a Brahmana. No one wants to be a Shudra, for example. We are
what everyone wants to be has to be understood through training and not simply through personal desire. If you want to be a particular way, take the training and qualify yourself.
My position is a Shudra. I don't want to.
Anybody who wants, if you want to serve in a certain way, then qualify yourself for that and take the training and then do nice service for Krishna.
Yes, I'm trying to.
Well, if you're talking about yourself, that's one thing. I'm talking in general. That's all. You have to decide.
I'm talking in general. What I see that Brahmanas don't ready to share their position with Kshatriyas. They are.
I'm not sure about
never.
that. I know certain Brahmanas that would love to give their position over to others. And when they see that someone can take the position, I've seen that. It depends on the person. What you're saying is correct, but it's not across the board. It's not like that. It's an individual thing. It's like I like to preach, but I need someone to help me with the management side of preaching. I like to preach. I also need someone to supply some prashadam. So that comes from another side. So our society has to be balanced in all of the activities. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I have to go because I have its flight coming up soon. But tomorrow I should be also online for class. And so we'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much once again. Have a safe flight, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you.
Thank you all devotees for joining. Very nice questions.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Maharaj ki jai.
Thank
you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Nrsimhadev.